Before we dive into the main topic, please take a moment to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like this deep dive, and leave a comment to support the channel. Your engagement truly helps us continue exploring these complex ideas. Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission here is always to take a stack of really challenging source material
Yeah, articles, research papers, sometimes even instructional texts.
and distill the essential knowledge and, the surprising insights you need to be well-informed and to do it fast. Today, we are undertaking a deep dive into the integration of sophisticated robotics into our most personal spaces. We're talking about home healthcare. We're calling this deep dive the robot touch.
And our objective today is, well, it's pretty precise. First, we need to unpack the specifics around a robot called MiRo, a really fascinating piece of engineering.
What does it do? Why is it being developed so urgently?
Exactly. And then second, we're going to pivot a bit. We'll critically examine the broader societal implications, for jobs, for human interaction, and maybe, most interestingly, the language used to frame all of this as, well, as inevitable.
Absolutely. And to kick things off, let's just start with that initial fact nugget. MiRo. The sources describe it as looking like a small, friendly toy, almost like a robotic animal companion.
But that exterior it's very deceiving.
It is. The consensus in the source material is that MiRo is a highly sophisticated piece of engineering, and it's poised to, and this is a quote, radically change the entire field of home healthcare.
And that emphasis on radical change is so important because this isn't just a novelty, it's presented as a demographic imperative.
A necessity.
A necessity. If you look at the context, especially in countries like Japan and the United States, we're seeing this global challenge. It's driven by a progressively aging population.
It's the sheer scale of the labor shortage that really drives the point home, isn't it? I mean, in a lot of advanced economies, birth rates have been declining for decades. So you have fewer young workers to support this exploding senior demographic. The sources are pretty clear that the capacity for human care is already strained.
It's completely strained. The numbers just don't add up. The current social services infrastructure, particularly when you look at providing human care and companionship, the sources say it will certainly not be able to offer enough personalized support for everyone who needs it.
So you get this overstretched system.
You get an overstretched system, and it leaves this massive gap. A gap in physical care, but also in crucial social interaction.
So the argument is that technology has to fill a void that human labor just can't feasibly or economically occupy anymore.
That's it. So when the sources say home healthcare alternatives are inevitably going to become a necessity, that's the complex backdrop they're working with. It's a crisis of capacity.
Right.
And MiRo is presented as the systemic answer. This isn't just a robot vacuum. It's explicitly described as a component within a complex system of sensors and communication networks.
And the whole point of that system.
The entire purpose is to demonstrably improve the quality of life for elderly people, to let them stay in their homes longer, safer, and with more dignity.
Okay, so let's unpack that. What does a 24/7 robotic presence actually look like for the person using it? MiRo isn't just an hourly aid. It lives with them.
Continuously, which means its learning algorithms are constantly absorbing personalized data. It learns their routines, it monitors their movements.
Subtle movements, too.
And environmental factors.
Right, and that continuous monitoring, that's what yields the specific measurable benefits. The number one safety function is to drastically reduce accidents in the home.
Which, for seniors living alone, a fall can be catastrophic.
It can be. The difference between immediate detection, and it might use things like onboard LiDAR or acoustic sensors to spot a sudden drop or a long silence, the difference between that and a delayed human response is often life or death.
That's the sophistication. It's not just pattern recognition, it's using multiple sensor inputs to infer an emergency in real time. But okay, beyond just preventing accidents, the robot's function seems to lean heavily into enhancing quality of life. Oh, absolutely. The practical functions, the sources list, they cover a surprising range of cognitive and organizational support tasks. It's designed to talk to its owners, some basic conversational interaction, but it also manages these crucial life-sustaining jobs.
For instance, reminding them to take their medicine. That's vital for adherence, especially if you have a complex treatment plan.
It helps manage appointments, so it's like an automated scheduler and reminder system. And then there's that one detail that's really striking.
That it remembers visitors' names.
It remembers the names of regular visitors. And that small function, whether it's just recalling from a database based on facial recognition or something else, it's designed to mimic real social memory.
To maintain the appearance of connection.
Yes, to ease social awkwardness or the strain of short-term memory loss.
Okay, but hang on. This is where I get a little skeptical. We're talking about data recall.
Yeah.
Consistent reminders. Is that really companionship? Are we confusing technological efficiency with, genuine human intimacy?
That's the question.
If the deeper benefit is supposed to be addressing loneliness, like the sources say, can a complex system of sensors really substitute for true emotional reciprocity?
Well, that's the core paradox, isn't it? The human touch dilemma. The sources are very clear. MiRo is intended to provide companionship for everyone, mostly as a way to ease this massive burden on social services.
And they admit people might resist it at first.
They do. They acknowledge that resistance is natural, that people might object to a robot companion, but the prediction is firm. Robots like MiRo will undoubtedly ease the burden because, well, ultimately, a functional, consistent presence is seen as better than profound isolation.
So it's a trade-off. Is the exchange of privacy, this 24/7 monitoring and data collection, worth the gain in safety, security, and a consistent, if automated, presence?
It forces you to confront that really complex ethical trade-off. And the sources basically conclude that MiRo could feasibly revolutionize elder care. It combines safety monitoring with this persistent cognitive and social support, making life for seniors safer, easier, and, well, arguably less lonely than it would be in an overburdened human system.
It's a pragmatic solution.
A technologically enforced solution to a massive societal problem.
And if MiRo can handle something as sensitive as biometrics, medication, social recall, it forces us to ask a much broader question. What other repetitive, high cognitive load jobs are, susceptible to this?
That's the perfect transition. We're zooming out from elder care to the wider professional landscape. The source material actually prompts the reader to think critically here. It presents three very different professional roles where a robot assistant could be integrated.
Right. The three roles are a clerk in a hotel, a nurse in a hospital, and a teacher in a kindergarten. They seem so different on the surface.
They do, but there's a common thread. The analysis really focuses on that cognitive load. What specific tasks in each of those jobs are high volume, repetitive, require extreme accuracy, and are often emotionally taxing for a human to do consistently?
That's what the robots target.
That's the target.
Okay, let's break down the hotel clerk. What tasks could a robot feasibly take on there?
Check-ins. Managing reservations, processing payments, answering all those standard questions about, the Wi-Fi password or local attraction.
The data-heavy stuff.
Exactly. It's all procedural. And the analysis in the sources is pretty certain about the outcome. It says, as a hotel clerk, a robot will undoubtedly be more accurate than a human.
And then it adds that fascinating little comment. It might even be friendlier.
Yeah.
That's a pretty damning observation about the current human experience, right?
It is. The robot isn't just being sold on speed or accuracy. It's being sold on consistent, non-judgmental customer service. It's free from the variability of human emotion or fatigue or just having a bad day.
That consistency is its main advantage. Okay, so what about the hospital nurse? The sources aren't suggesting a robot is doing complex surgery.
No, not at all. But it could handle the high-volume, data-intensive tasks. Things like monitoring vital signs, administering medication on a standard schedule, maintaining accurate patient charts, managing the logistics of patient movement.
So it's like a tireless, highly accurate data engine.
Precisely. It ensures procedural compliance, reduces the risk of human error, which in medicine can be catastrophic. The robot makes sure the necessary intervention is logged and scheduled with demonstrable efficiency.
And then the kindergarten teacher. This feels like the most sensitive one. What role could automation possibly play in early childhood education?
The sources suggest roles tied to predictable instruction or non-judgmental repetition. So think teaching basic concepts like the alphabet or simple math problems, or conducting standardized tests, or just ensuring all children participate equally in rote learning.
The robot is tireless and offers consistent instruction.
Exactly.
So if we look across all three, the clerk, the nurse, the teacher, the robot is designed to take over the bulk work, the data entry, the scheduling, the monitoring, the predictable responses, which brings us back to that central question, the human task gap.
And that gap is what's going to define human value in the age of the robot. What essential human tasks would still need to be done by people even with these sophisticated robot assistants integrated?
In the hospital, the robot handles the vitals, but the human nurse provides the empathy when delivering difficult news.
Or soothes an anxious patient.
In the kindergarten, the robot teaches the ABCs, but the human teacher inspires creativity, mediates a complex social fight between kids, or identifies the subtle signs of a child's emotional distress.
And for the hotel clerk, the robot is more accurate at check-in, but the human manager handles the complex, non-standard complaint. The noisy neighbor, the request for an exception, something that requires subjective judgment and nuanced negotiation.
So automation handles the repeatable. Humans retain the role requiring complex judgment, emotional intelligence, and non-standard problem solving.
That separation of roles, mechanical efficiency versus cognitive and emotional flexibility, that is key.
And that idea of certainty, that the future is already divided up like this, that actually brings us to the final part of our analysis. It's all about the language being used to sell this revolution.
I find this part so important. It reveals the rhetorical structure behind the whole technological push. We have to look closely at the vocabulary in the source material because it feels engineered to convey certainty and inevitability, not just, possibility.
Right. We're moving from description to linguistic analysis. The sources break down different types of adverbs. You have adverbs of manner, which describe how something is done, like saying MiRo will radically change care, or it will drastically reduce accidents.
The more revealing category is what they call commenting adverbs. These don't describe the action. They express the speaker's attitude or opinion about the certainty of that action. They signal an unshakable future.
It's already a done deal.
Exactly. We're talking about words like ultimately, inevitably, undoubtedly, certainly, and feasibly. When you pair these words with future verb forms, the whole statement shifts from a prediction to a pronouncement.
Let's look at those examples from the text again, because they really show the intent. We said that home healthcare alternatives are inevitably going to become a necessity.
That word, inevitably, it just removes any possibility of an alternative human-centric solution being found.
Or what about the statement about the robot's role in social services? MiRo will undoubtedly ease the burden, and that powerful negative prediction. Social services will certainly not be able to offer human companionship for everyone.
Every single one of those statements uses a high-certainty commenting adverb paired with a future form. This vocabulary choice, it strongly signals that the full integration of robots, the age of the robot, it's viewed by the creators of this material not as a remote possibility, but as a near-certain bound necessity.
The argument becomes that we've run out of choices, and the only path forward is automation.
Yes. The rhetoric frames the demographic crisis as being so severe that the technological solution is the only logical, non-negotiable step. It's the language of economic determinism applied to sociology.
What's fascinating is that by using these adverbs, the discourse shifts. It's no longer asking, should we integrate robots?
It's asking, how quickly can we manage this necessary integration? It effectively preempts resistance by defining the future as fixed.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've covered the specific functional promise of robots like MiRo, which aim to solve the demographic healthcare crisis with, 247 safety monitoring and personalized care assistance.
And we've also analyzed the broader societal transformation, how robot assistants are being carved out roles in hotels, hospitals, schools, handling the high-accuracy, high-volume tasks that burn out humans.
But what binds MiRo, the hotel clerk, and those commenting adverbs is a single powerful argument that this demographic crisis has made purely human solutions politically and economically impossible. It's forcing society into a technological necessity.
The sources suggest this century will become the age of the robot, that the industry is about to make life a lot easier for all of us.
But that brings us right back to that central lingering question about the human task gap. If the age of the robot is inevitable, as the language strongly suggests it is, will we learn to value the efficiency and consistency of the robot touch more than the fallibility and variability of the human touch?
That is the essential distinction, isn't it, between functionality and connection. And it's something you must continue to explore as this age of automation unfolds.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like, and leave a comment to support the channel.